What is up, you guys? My name is Soundkage, and today we have a special video that I've been wanting to do for a while. I just keep on putting it off. We're going to be ranking the top 10 strongest Akatsuki members. Now, unfortunately for this list, we aren't going to be doing certain characters that have been members of the Akatsuki that weren't there long. Examples are going to be Orochimaru, especially when we have no showings of Orochimaru's skill level while he's in the Akatsuki. And we also are not going to be going over Team Taka, seeing how they were only in the Akatsuki for one mission, and they only did so that Sasuke could get some information from Obito. Who knows, maybe I'll do an extended version of this list one day, but as far as I'm concerned right now, it's just too much to be asked for, so we're going to be leaving these guys and Orochimaru out of the list. So just to make that clear, we're doing everybody in this image and also Zetsu. I just couldn't find a good enough picture with all of them in it. Speaking of, at number 10 we have Zetsu. And I know what everybody's going to say is Zetsu is an extension of Kaguya, so really he has Kaguya's chakra and he's a Kaguya level thing. I think a lot of people just initially write this off because he was able to stab through Jubidara. However, I think it is hinted at in what I primarily believe that he was able to pierce through Madara's skin because he was taking control of Obito's body that had residuals of 6-pass chakra in it. He doesn't really have confidence in his own skills anyways, considering how he said he couldn't separate from Obito, or he would be killed by Kakashi and an Edo Minato that didn't even have arms. Just for the fact that he didn't even believe he could run away just shows that he would have got blitzed by the two of them and killed like it was nothing, which as a total I think just puts him the lowest you can put the low on the totem pole. Coming in at the number 9 spot we have Hidan. Now, as a whole, I think Hidan is a very underrated character, and he probably has one of the coolest and most unique abilities in the whole entire show. Besides Zetsu, whose sole purpose in the Akatsuki is for intel, I feel like Hidan is the only Akatsuki member that you can argue isn't even Kage level. A lot of people like to forget this, but he was taken out by Team Asuma in a couple of minutes, and if it wasn't for Kakazu there to sew his head back on, that would have been it. And later on, he would be easily defeated by Shikamaru. Now, trust me, I understand this is Shikamaru with like a day of prep time, which is a pretty dangerous force to go up against, but nonetheless, he lost to Shikamaru. At number 8, we have Conan. Oh boy, I know people are going to have a problem with this. I feel like there is a lot of misinformation about Conan and a lot of over-exaggerations that people take at first glance and just run with it. A prime example of this is her skirmish with Obito. Obito almost died. She could have killed him. She had like a month or two of prep time to prepare for Obito coming. And then after he uses Izanagi and foils her plan to kill him, he annihilates her in a couple of seconds. As I stated before, prep time makes a huge difference. Under normal circumstances, Shikamaru would not have won this fight, but because of prep time, he did win this fight. And on the other thing, misconception, is that Conan beat Sorcery to make him join the Akatsuki. This is not true. This is actually just something from the video games. At the end of it though, I'm not saying that Conan isn't a capable shinobi. I'm very glad that they put a female aspect in the group. However, she is just not strong or comparable to anybody that is above her on this list. Coming in at the number 7 spot is going to be Deidara. I think Deidara is a very underrated character in terms of jutsu and his abilities. Like, he has the ability to fly and carry other people while flying. Like, no other Akatsuki member has that ability. And I think you can argue, besides pain, Deidara can probably do more destruction than any Akatsuki member. A lot of people like to bring up the fact that he beat Gaara easily. Well, he actually didn't. He lost an arm in that fight, and he had to pretty much threaten the Sand Village in order to gain an upper hand on Gaara. Similar situation with Hidan. At the end of the day, Deidara lost to a 3 Tomoe Sasuke. Now, I'm not going to say there wasn't any BS plot armor involved in any of this, because there definitely was. Sasuke definitely should not have survived this fight. I think it is one of the most BS written things in all of the entire show. However, if it wasn't for Manda, Sasuke still would have died in the fight, and so would have Deidara, so it would have been a stalemate. Which means, unfortunately, the highest you can get Deidara is to say that he is equal to a 3 Tomoe Sasuke. Coming in at the number 6 spot, we have Sorcery. I think a lot of people, for some weird reason, like to assume that Deidara is stronger than Sorcery just because he died later in the show. However, in the 3rd data book, it says that the 3rd Kazekage is the strongest Kazekage, and Deidara struggled to fight Gaara. So, assuming that Sorcery beat the 3rd Kazekage in a fight, and then took his body before he had his greatest tool, which would be that body as a puppet, I think it's very well to assume that Sorcery is way stronger than Deidara. But he lost to Sakura, an old woman. I mean, sort of. So, in the manga, I know the anime doesn't do a good job of explaining it. Granny Chiho literally says that Sorcery anticipated her last attack and just didn't dodge it. Like, not a reason given, just that almost like as if he wanted to die. And it truly is unfortunate. I think that Sorcery is one of the fallen potentials of this entire show. Like, he had way more potential, and I think we could have seen a lot better fight scenes in the show if he would have stuck around. Plus, puppets are just one of the coolest jutsu styles in the entire show. But, moving on. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we have Kakazu. Now, primarily, the main thing that makes Kakazu hard to deal with is the fact that you have to kill this man 5 times. He also has 4 sentient beings that can come out of his back and act on their own, each one possessing their own chakra nature, which makes it to where Kakazu doesn't really have a hard counter. Kakazu is also known for fighting Hashirama, however I can only imagine that he barely survived and Hashirama had a lot of mercy in his heart that day. However, it's just inconsistent. He got one-shot by a Naruto that you can argue isn't even Kage level yet, so this is probably the most debatable position in the whole video. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have my favorite Akatsuki member, Kisame Hoshigaki. Also known as the Monster of the Blood Mist or the Tailed Beast, Kisame is most notable for his use of the strongest out of the 7 Swords of the Mist, Samehada. Samehada has the unique ability of being able to transform into the user of the sword, making them this weird shark humanoid creature. It essentially gives them the ability to absorb chakra, breathe water, and it's an insane buff to speed and strength. Overall, Kisame's most notable feat is how easily and quickly he was able to take out the 8 Tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee. Like, if you go and rewatch the fight, it almost looks like Killer Bee just did not stand a chance whatsoever. And a lot of people like to bring up the fact that Kisame did lose the 7 Gates guy. However, Kisame didn't have Samehada in this fight, so it's more than likely that Guy wouldn't have been able to beat him in the 7th gate, and may have had to even notch it up to the 8th gate, and then Guy would have died off early. Plus, the man is a savage. He summoned sharks to eat himself. By far, one of the most loyal characters in the entire show. Coming in at the number 3 spot, the most overhyped character in the entire show, maybe in all of anime. Itachi is purely here because of his hacks. In his Mangekyo Sharingan, he obtained the abilities of Tsukiyomi and Amaterasu, which are definitely 2 of the most broken abilities in the entire show. And on top of that, he has a Susanoo that has 2 spiritual weapons, being the Yatamir that can deflect anything, and the Totsuka Blade, which has the ability to absorb the soul out of somebody, suck it into a gourd where they are stuck in a drunken world. Whatever the hell that means. At the end of the day, though, Itachi's main weakness is the fact that he was sick in his life. He's essentially a glass cannon having all this power behind him, but not the means to use it. Seeing how in the fight with Sasuke, he had a Susanoo up for probably a couple of minutes and then killed over. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have Pain. Truth be told, there is just not enough time, unless this is going to be an hour-long video, for me to go over all the paths of the Pain, but let me know in the comments if you want that to be a separate video, because I would love to go over that. Now, Pain, sort of like Itachi, has a lot of hacks under his belt, but he has a lot more chakra and a lot more durability that allows him to use these hacks. Notable feats are whenever all 6 paths showed up, he was able to take out Jiraiya very, very easily. Rest in peace. And definitely has some of the highest damage output in the Akatsuki, seeing how he's able to destroy the whole entire Leaf Village with 1 jutsu. And then Naruto, returning to the Leaf Village with the ability to use Sage Mode, definitely made him the strongest ninja in the Leaf Village. However, if it wasn't for the 9 Tails coming out, Pain definitely would have beat Naruto, which just shows that he was able to take out the Leaf Village all by himself. Well, I guess technically Guy wasn't there and he was on a mission, he could have used the 8 gates. But besides all of that, Pain was definitely a force to be reckoned with. And coming in at the number 1 spot, we have Obito Uchiha. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the primary reason he's here is because of Kamui. Besides the creation of all things technique and maybe a couple of other jutsus here and there, Kamui is the most broken ability in the entire show. The idea that you can just make it to where stuff can't hit you, you can go to your own dimension to retreat, so much so that Obito didn't even think it was necessary to go after Kakashi's eye, that the one that he had would suit his capability just perfectly fine. And it did. A lot of people like to underplay Obito, but I just want you guys to keep in mind that at the age of 14, he was swapping hands with Minato, the 3rd Hokage. And besides Naruto and Hashirama, in my personal opinion, I think Minato is the strongest Hokage. Yeah, at the end of the day, I really just don't think that you can debate that he is not number 1. That is going to do it for this video. Guys, let me know what you think of the video in the comments. Make sure you like and share the video and hit that subscribe button for more content. I'm really enjoying this journey on YouTube so far, and it's really fun editing these videos. So if you want to see more content, please stick around, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.